Well, thanks so much for watching. It's a real honor to be able to screen Kavi to a receptive audience, especially at the beginning of something like a week about human trafficking and raising awareness about this issue. I actually had no idea that slavery still exists. I found out about 9 years ago, and it just blew my mind that there's more slavery today than the entire 400 years of the African slave trade combined. 27 million is a pretty conservative estimate, and it's one of the fastest growing criminal enterprises behind drugs and weapons. So Kavi is actually my USC thesis film, and when I had the opportunity to make a thesis film, I really wanted to make it count. I wanted to tell a powerful story, take people on a journey, and raise awareness about this issue. So for me, the best way to do that, and this film is actually a reaction to learning about this, for me the best way to do that was to tell a story, and about one person, because it's easy for this issue just to become statistics. But when, for me, it becomes one person, I am more motivated to do something about it. So I started writing this script in September 2006, and it was based mostly on research, and then I realized that I actually needed to see this for myself. So I went to India for about a month, visited about 20 different brick kilns, met child workers, and really used that experience to make the script as authentic as possible. I actually remember meeting this one little boy named Anil. He was hauling bricks back and forth in a brick kiln, and he was probably about 12 years old. You know, it was very much like what Kavi was doing. And I asked him how old he was, and he said he didn't know, either because he had been there so long he really had no idea how old he was, or he was afraid of getting in trouble. Whichever it was clear this situation wasn't right. It doesn't matter what country or what culture you're in, from a human point of view, a young boy shouldn't be hauling bricks all day long. And that was even more motivation for me to tell this story. So after that research period, I went back to Los Angeles, started doing the fundraising, and it was actually looking like this film wasn't going to happen. I basically took all the photos and film from the trip, made a 3-minute pitch DVD, sent it to everyone and anyone I could think of, family, friends, my high school French teacher, anyone. And airline tickets were skyrocketing, and I just had to bite the bullet and go for it. And at the last minute, we got an anonymous donor who agreed to match every dollar that we raised for the film for the whole budget. So it was kind of a miracle that that happened, and so we were able to move forward. And when I was in India, everyone said come back in September, because that's when brickmaking season begins, and you could put your actors in a working brick kiln and have instant production design. So that was the plan. When I got back to India, everyone said, no, it's not brickmaking season, you're here too early. Go home and come back in December. And I didn't know what to do. I couldn't believe it. So we actually decided to recreate our own brick kiln. We found a dormant brick kiln, and the plan was to bring it back to life and bring our actors into that world. So we went through that process, but the other challenge was that it was monsoon season, and not only that, but an abnormally long monsoon season, and it would not stop raining. So we had to push the shoot 1 week, and then 2 weeks, and 3 weeks. It was looking like we'd actually have to cancel it, but there was finally a clearing in the rain. We got our 60-person crew out to this small village, and when we got there, everything, though, was covered in green vegetation. And as you saw in the film, there's a lot of warm reds, oranges, warm colors, and the visual structure that we created, that I created for the film, was such that all of the warm colors represent oppression. So that was for the oppressive scenes, and then the liberating scenes had cool colors, blues, greens, colors like that. So we actually had to strip the vegetation, the grass, the bushes. This place was totally overgrown. And once we got over that hump, then we had to find the brick makers. And we had to convince them, because it not only was not because it wasn't brick making season, but we were able to convince them and pay them to come in and make the thousands of bricks, and it was looking like it would move forward with no problem, except that it turns out that the Bollywood film crew we were using spoke Hindi, the locals spoke Marathi. I don't speak either of those languages, and the little boy who plays Kavi, he didn't speak English. So it was all in all looking like a recipe for disaster. But we just kept on pushing forward, and we had the shooting schedule laid out so that we would do everything in 10 days, and we just had to shave a couple of those days off. We lost our production designer 24 hours before the shoot. All kinds of things were happening, but we plowed through. We were able to wrap it up in 7 days, and 2 hours after we wrapped, the monsoon rains came pouring back through. So it was another miracle that happened to really push this film forward. So all in all, it took about 2.5, 3 years to make this 19-minute film. And I learned a lot of lessons in the process. But it's been a really incredible journey, and it's really been an ideal start to life after film school. As Zachary mentioned, it ended up winning the Student Academy Award, and that qualified us to submit to the regular Oscars, and we actually got a nomination for that, and that really was just an incredible experience. And part of the goal, it wasn't just that one night on the red carpet and at the Kodak Theater. It was really an entire month, and part of the plan during that month was to raise awareness as much as we could about modern-day slavery. So we got other nominees to wear these blue ribbons, and we really got a lot of incredible support from other Oscar nominees who were wearing the ribbons, talking about the issue. And that was really part of my goal in making this film, was to raise awareness and try to partner with organizations and individuals who are actually doing something about the issue. So what can you do? You know, there are a lot of things that you can do. For me, it all began with learning that this issue existed, so you can tell others. You can volunteer or intern at organizations. Not for Sale, I know, is coming through here, along with some other great organizations. You can get involved with what they're doing. It's really exciting because actually some new legislation has just been passed in California where companies are now required to examine their supply chain for any elements of slavery. And so they were, the Coalition Against Slavery and Trafficking was able to use this film to help kind of personalize the issue and show that, you know, although this slavery may be 10,000 miles away, the bricks that are used may be in factories that are creating the products that we consume. So supply chains have many different stops along the way to the process of creating the products that we actually consume. You know, the other things that you can do are hold awareness screenings of Kavi or other films, and you really using the film to fundraise for these organizations. And they can be any organization that you want, you know, and who you want to support. And finally, the last thing I think is using your own gifts and talents to serve this issue and the issues that you care about. You may be a filmmaker and you may want to go make another film and tell another story, but you may be on a track for law, and there's international law and helping agencies create new legislation in this country or in other countries that really serve the oppressed. So there's a variety of things, and I just would encourage you to consider how to best use your gifts and talents for a cause bigger than yourself. And it seems like even with a week set out with global awareness on human trafficking as a start, it seems like that's where you all are heading. So I'm really excited about that. I'm going to be doing a Q&A after this, immediately after this, in the founders room. So I'd really encourage you to come out there. I'd love to talk to you more about this issue, about the filmmaking process, about any other questions that you have. There's a table outside with more information. I'd encourage you to pick up one of these postcards that has the website, which is kavithemovie.com, information about our Facebook pages and Twitter pages, and pick up a copy of the DVD if you like. It's $10, and you can use it, like I said, to hold your own awareness screenings, to fundraise for the organizations that you care about, and for some of the more of the organizations you'll learn about this week. And sign up for the email list. And yeah, so thank you so much for coming out today. And I really hope to see a lot of you at the Q&A, where we can get more intimate with the questions, and I can tell you more about Kavi. So thank you so much.